Hello students, welcome to today's session on consumers equilibrium, especially one and two commodities. Okay, so this topic I'll provide you, or I'll get you through with the three slides or three portions or three segments. The first one would be the introduction to the consumers equilibrium. Second one is consumers equilibrium single commodity, and consumers equilibrium two commodities. All right. So to begin with, introduction to consumers equilibrium. So as far as definition is concerned, so consumer equilibrium is the situation where a consumer gets maximum satisfaction from spending their limited income, okay, and does not want to change their current consumption patterns, right? So equilibrium is nothing but the point or the situation, or I would say the position at which consumer gets maximum satisfaction. The first point is, at this point, consumer gets maximum satisfaction from spending their limited income. Another side, the consumer does not want to change their current consumption pattern, right? So even though they are getting the maximum satisfaction, but they don't want to change their current consumption pattern. All right. So this stage is reached when customer or consumer has allocated income effectively across goods. So it is nothing but a kind of assumptions. The assumption is consumer has allocated income efficiently across goods, considering both prices and the benefit. So benefit is nothing but, here we can understand the utility from each other. Okay, so always keep in mind and have this in on understanding, like the assumption is the income efficiently allocated across the goods, and both prices and the utility, prices and the benefit from each other. Okay, the concept is explained using two approach. As I mentioned, the first one is single commodity case, and the second one is two commodity concepts or two commodity case. Okay, so first I'll go through with single commodity. Okay, and here I'll explain you how the equilibrium works. Okay, in the single commodity case, the consumer applies the law of diminishing marginal utility. Okay, so diminishing marginal utility, as we are aware about, it is nothing but after a certain extent, one extra unit or the consumption of one extra unit will start diminishing satisfaction, right, or diminishing satisfaction level. Okay, started diminishing the utility. Okay, so here the law of diminishing marginal utility applies, okay, in the single commodity case. Okay, so consumer in the equilibrium when the marginal utility from the commodity equal to the price. Okay, so that means the marginal utility will not have impact even though the commodity prices are going up and down. So consumer is in the equilibrium state when the marginal utility from the commodity equals its price. Okay, so here I can give you with a formula. So marginal equality is equal to price into marginal equality is equal to price of the commodity. All right, if marginal utility is greater than the price into marginal utility, the consumer buy more of the commodity until quality or equality is reached due to falling marginal utility. Here, let me emphasize on this once again. The consumer buy more of the commodity. When they can buy more of the commodity, or till what time they will buy more commodity? Until the equality is reduced to falling marginal utility. Okay, so please note it. or it should be noted down, right? So if the consumer buys more of the commodity until equality is reaches due to falling marginal utility. Second one is if marginal utility is less than the price into marginal utility or less than the price, the consumer reduces consumptions until the equilibrium is restored, right? So it has two sides. One is, if it is greater than the price, or second one is if less than the price. So in the case of if it is higher than the price, so the consumer can buy the commodity or purchase the commodity until equality is reached due to falling marginal utility. Second case, if it is less than of the price, then the consumer reduces consumptions. Definitely that means price is high, correct? So price is high, so consumer started reducing the consumption until equilibrium is restored. All right. Marginal utility must be converted to monetary terms for comparison with price. Definitely, as I mentioned, otherwise we cannot, even though it is utility, it should be have kind of, measurement. How it is measured, it is difficult, but, in a hypothetical example or maybe the assumptions, it should be monitored or it should be measured. Okay. So marginal utility must be converted to monetary terms for comparison with price. All right. Now moving to the second one, that is when consumers equilibrium with two commodities. Okay. So when spending on two commodities, suppose X and Y, there are two commodities, equilibrium is when the ratio of marginal utility to price is same of both, right? Previously, we have studied about one commodity. That was the pretty clear. In the case of if it is higher than the price or if it is lower than the price of the marginal utility. Okay. Here, when spending on two commodities, X and Y, equilibrium is when the ratio of marginal utility to price is same of both, right? So marginal utility into price and the ratio marginal utility price equal to price into marginal utility. In this situation, right, when spending on both commodities, then equilibrium position would be like, the ratio of marginal utility to price. All right. The consumer reallocates income when X and Y so that the last rupee spent on each goods gives equal extra satisfaction. So it is nothing but the balancing one, right? Why I'm saying this balancing? Because if one product, having allocated more income, then definitely with the help of this equilibrium concept, they can understand we have to reduce from first and reallocate something in Y so that they can get the maximum utilization, correct? And they will follow the rule of law of diminishing marginal utility for extra satisfaction. All right. So law of diminishing marginal utility applies here. If not equal, the consumer adjusts consumption to maximize total utility. So the concept is, if it is not equal, as I mentioned, law of diminishing marginal utility, when it is applied, if it is not equal, what is not equal? That means the equilibrium is when the ratio of marginal utility equal to the price, okay, of the product. So if it is not equal, the customer adjusts consumption. That means the customer will start adjusting the consumption each other. From A to B, from X to Y, if they are having two commodities, to maximize the total utility, until it reaches to equilibrium. So the concept is pretty clear, right? In the sense, for the one commodity, just to summarize, for one commodity, what they mention about, if the marginal utility is greater than the price and if the marginal utility is lesser than price. So if it is lesser than the price, that means they can demand till the time it is reaches to equilibrium. And if the price is high, that means they have started reducing the purchase of the goods till the time it reaches to the equilibrium. But in the case of two commodities, right, it is nothing but the reallocation. Okay, adjusting the consumptions, right? Adjusting the consumptions to maximize total utility until equilibrium is reaches. All right. So that's all for today's session. I hope you understand. Okay, and you understand the topic. Keep practicing, because this particular chapter is very much useful in economics. Okay, keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next time. If you have any doubts, please contact me through my Urban Pro profile. Thank you so much.